kutoka milimani, Muungani hadi Pwani. Elo inasimama kwa sauti huru,
kwa uadilifu na haki, sisi tuko imara. Kenya mpya kwa matumaini ya dhati.
Kutoka kaskazini, kusini, mashariki na magharibi, tunajivunia Kenya, nchi ya matumaini. Kwa uadilifu na amani, sisi tunaimba kwa kusema elogo for credible peace.
Karen, and this is Darubini Uchaguzi, and with me here I have a guest, and I will give her the chance to introduce herself and tell us what she's doing. Karibu sana, you're welcome to the podcast.
Asante. My name is Nderitu. I'm the Registrar of Political Parties. A position I've held for the last 7 years.
Okay.
Yes.
So thank you so much, Nderitu, for joining us, madam. And I'm very glad to have you here. And so today we'd want to know, what has your journey been like holding in as a registrar of political parties?
The first thing is I've been a roller coaster, just to describe it.
Mm-hmm.
Roller coaster because as a registrar of political parties, you move from one issue to another.
Mm-hmm.
And political parties are basically very active. They keep bringing up issues either to be resolved or others to be considered for purposes of progressing the nation in terms of political participation and elections generally, and also strengthening political parties. So you are usually like in a roller coaster, because event come after another, activities after another, and then you also culminate now in the general election, and which is also very involving and very engaging as a process. So in a nutshell, I can say it's a very, very engaging office.
Mm-hmm.
Yes.
Interesting. I love the fact that you have said that being in such an office also looks like a lot of involvement.
Mm-hmm.
So I'd love to know, perhaps, is there any bias or any challenge that you have faced, and how have you overcome it, being that, as you have said, you have many years of experience working in that space?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
I think challenges are there. The challenges that come is that you must be prepared that people have different opinions. Sometimes the political parties actually may have different opinions, and they may differ even in opinion. They actually also, you must also be prepared that as an institution, you are supposed to regulate political parties and by extension politics. Politics comes in dynamics, and politics is about opinions. You must be very accommodative to those opinions and allow people to express themselves. But then you must also steer them towards the law and making sure that whatever they are doing, even as they do and express their opinion, is also within the law. As far as management of political parties is concerned.
Mm-hmm.
So that has been it's a challenging task, because you have to keep balancing the law and the right of expression, the right of association, because all of them are important to make a country progress. In the center of it, of course, is the political party, which must be registered, formed, and regulated according to the law. There's also bias. Sometimes you can make a decision,
Mm-hmm.
because at the office of registrar you have to make certain decisions when there's a matter that is before you. Sometimes you can make a decision, and one section of the people who are in dispute are not happy about you, and they can talk things that are very biased against you as a person, sometimes as a woman, sometimes also try to bully you in one way or another. So they are challenging. There are challenges all over. But what is important is that a person who holds such a position must be very clear. First of all, it's a state office, a job, and you must be very clear that you have the interest of the nation at the center of your leadership. And also you must be very clear that you are giving people the chance to exercise their rights and those rights should be then regulated so that they don't encroach on the rights of others, because we say that the right of a person ends where a right of another person starts.
Yeah, that's true. So perhaps I'd like to ask you, in light of everything that you have said, do you think we are moving towards gender equity and good representation into the political party system, and in the probably the roles that you're holding? Do you think even in your organizational structure, there's good representation of women there?
Number one, for the Office of Registrar of Political Parties, the gender representation is 50-50 as an institution. If it falls, it's 149-51. So we've tried almost to do 50-50 gender representation, so that as we tell political parties and others about gender, we actually showing them that we also read by example. In terms of the political process, we know that it's a journey, and we have been on a journey towards gender equity. We are not where we were 15 years ago when there was the making of the constitution, the new constitution, 2010. We have really journeyed. We have seen more representation of women coming on board, more women expressing interest to participate in election. If I give you a scenario, for example, in 2013, only about 800 women were in the ballot paper.
Yes.
There were candidates in the ballot paper. In 2017, they came to around 1,300 women. In 2022, we have 1,898 women participating in the ballot paper, meaning we are growing even in terms of participation. And you can see there's a correlation between how many women come into the ballot paper and how many are elected. There's a direct correlation if you study the data. That means the most important thing as people who are mobilizing women for participation is to make sure that many women are pushed to the ballot paper as possible. The qualified women who can actually stand and really get a position, stand a chance of getting elected. So we must look at the quality of participation so that we bring the women who really can make a difference. And secondly, we must also make sure that as many women who are interested in the process are able to get into the ballot paper. That in itself, by looking at the current information, shows that the many that are going to participate, there's a high likelihood we are going to add the numbers of the women who are elected. And I say, you see, in just comparing for National Assembly, in 2013, I think we had around 16 women elected on a single member constituency. 2017, we had 23 on a single member constituency. Now in 2022, we had 29. So you can see the growth is progressive. We had 0 governor in 2013. We had 3 in 2017. We had now 7 in 2022. So those numbers speaks that if we push as many women into the ballot in the electoral process and finally in the ballot paper, we are likely to have the numbers increase. So my call is for women to participate in elections. Yeah.
I love the fact that you have said, Kwanza, I'm standing here as a co-host and as a lady or a woman.
Yeah.
You have really insisted on quality of women that we are putting out there and making sure that they also qualify to be in those positions.
Yeah.
I do understand that when we are going through spaces of gender equity, we want women to participate. But the other thing that we also want to emphasize is the quality of women, so that as we are advocating for these positions, let it not be that it's coming sasa ati mtu amepewa position, but they cannot be able to sustain it, because then that will go against the big work that we are fighting. Like, for instance, the 2/3 gender rule that we have in the parliament. You find that maybe some people are given the position, but they are not very competent enough. So in line with every good point that we have had in this discussion, we know that on the 8th of March is International Women's Day. So perhaps I wanted to know, what are some of the recommendations that you'd want to give, being that you have worked in this space for so long, and what are some of the things that we don't talk about when it comes to that specific day that is put to address gender equity as a disparity that we need to have tables?
Okay, the first thing I want to say is that number one, being a woman is not a qualification of a leader. That one should get out there very clearly. That being a woman, we just push for more women leaders. So first of all, you must be a leader. As a woman, you have the qualities that it takes to be a leader. You have to develop yourself and package yourself as a leader first. Then the woman come the tail end. But we need women who are leaders, who should be pushed to the ballot paper. That's a difference. Sio bora mwanamke. You want mwanamke bora.
Yes.
Akuwe kiongozi. Yeah. So we really have to package the real women who have the qualities to lead, because being a woman on itself is not a leadership qualification.
Yeah.
In regards to the International Women's Day, I would want to see us pushing for the two-third gender rule implementation that has been lying in various documents that have been pushed through Parliament. This morning we were informed that that particular bill on gender, two-third gender rule, have failed 11 times in Parliament. So one of the issues we may want to push as women movement is to see the implementation of two-third gender rule in representation. And I know for sure their effort, and there was even a presidential memorandum. There's the NADCO report, part of it towards that. But I think it's the high time now we get the political goodwill, especially from Parliament, because the president expressed himself by writing the memorandum, putting to that gender rule at one of the issues they may want to see. So from the highest office, at least the goodwill is there. But we want to see this goodwill translated into registration in Parliament that now address this issue that has been escaping us since the promulgation of the Constitution in 2010. I would also want us to focus on the young women, the youth. And now, because it's a Women International Day, I want us to focus also on the participation of the young women. We saw the young women in the street, and for the first time, when we talked about demonstration, it used to be young men. This time, it's actually even the young women who are leading demonstrations, and they were there asking for certain issues to be fixed. So let's also focus our discussion on the participation of the young women by actually preparing them to be leaders, actually, and to be able to participate in the space as mobilizers, as candidates, as people who really want to articulate certain issues of governance. The qualified young women need to be pushed as part of the agenda of women participation. And one of the way of doing it, and I've said it now and I'll say it again, that we need young women to join political parties. Your voice is more consolidated when you are working at a political party as opposed to when you are working alone. You remember the youth were saying when they were demonstrating that they are partyless, they are tribalist, they are faceless, they are leaderless, they are many-less. But three things I thought they should not be less. They should not be partyless, they should not be leaderless, and they should not be faceless. We want to see them. These are the people who are advocating for these lines. So we want these young women to be packaged in a way that they can actually consolidate their voice and their voice to be heard out there. What are the issues affecting young women today in the current generation, as opposed to us, your mothers? What we're experiencing our time, and youth is a stage. Once the stage passes, then it takes another generation now to come and fix what you are unable to fix. So what is it that the young woman can really bring the voice in a well-harnessed and consolidated way, even in a written form, so that it's known what exactly are the young people saying? I was very disappointed when the youth were called by the president for dialogue. They said, "Oh, we are faceless." I thought anytime there's a presentation of dialogue, like we are doing here, it is very important to articulate the issues for the issues to be heard. Yeah.
Oh, thank you very much.
Yeah.
So I think one of the biggest key takeaways ni isikue ati ni bora tu mwanamke.
Yeah.
Kuwe mwanamke bora.
Yes.
So I think with that was very, very powerful for me. I'd love to wrap up this conversation and encourage other women to increase their competency, especially when we go for this leadership position, so that when we are analyzing, the last thing that people will analyze you will be you are a woman.
Yes.
Because you're competent enough to hold.
To be a leader. Yeah. You are a leader first before you are a woman. Let's analyze your leadership qualities and how you are able to handle challenging situations.
Yes.
Then after that, let's say now we put in statistics of women in leadership.
Yes.
But sometimes we want to put the woman first, and then that's how the rain starts beating us. Let's demonstrate our competences in the areas we aspire to lead. So that means you have to develop yourself and work twice as hard as a man.
Yes.
Thank you.
Yeah, thank you so much. That's a wrap.
Kutoka milimani, bungani hadi pwani, Elo inasimama kwa sauti huru.
Kwa uadilifu na haki, sisi tuko imara. Kenya mpya kwa matumaini ya dhati.
Kutoka kaskazini, kusini, mashariki na magharibi, tunajivunia Kenya, nchi ya matumaini. Kwa uadilifu na amani, sisi tunaimba kwa kusema Elo for credible, peaceful, free and fair elections.